Howdy, everyone. Welcome back
Howdy.
to another episode of the whatever the hell this is podcast. I think it's a good
The
operating
the
name for
Babel
now.
Royale show. The Babel Royale show, I guess. I don't know.
Let's rock with let's rock and roll with that. Mason has elected to talk about the 2024 presidential election and perhaps the other congressional elections between now and then, including then as well. I don't know what it is exactly that he is interested in discussing, but he's going to tell all of us now. So, floor is yours, Mason.
I mean, just a brilliant setup right there. You got to appreciate that. Um, yeah, I mean, basically, I saw a an interesting little article today about Donald Trump's chances of winning the 2024 election, and I kind of just wanted to talk about it. So, we've known for a while that Biden is not performing too well in terms of, as objective as these metrics can get. We know Biden isn't performing too well because his approval rating is really low. So like it's even lower than Trump's was at this point. So I don't know what Parker has on the screen. I should probably actually pull that up. But let's see. At least in so according to Rasmussen reports, a Rasmussen poll that they did, this is the first term presidential job approval percent on October 7th. Barack Obama was at 49%, Donald Trump was at 46%, and Joe Biden was at 43%. And that was like about a week ago now. So it's probably dropped even farther from there. But yeah, he's sitting at like around 43%, which is insanely low, especially for in comparison to like Donald Trump. Um, because even 3% is a pretty big deal. So, we've known for a while that he's not faring too well with the numbers, and it's for a multitude of reasons. Everyone's going to have their own reason, but I can list off a few. There's, of course, Afghanistan. That was a pretty much a wholesale disaster. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. We covered that pretty well um, over on Twitch about a week after it happened or so. Um, and then there's the vaccine mandate, which is probably the most important thing to this poll because that was the most recent kind of controversial thing he's done um, as far as this poll is concerned. He had the eviction moratorium where he basically just said, fuck it. We're not worried about what the Constitution says. He said he didn't have the constitutional power to do something, did it anyways. Um, yeah, just a lot of really, really dumb decisions on his part. Um, and yeah, now we're here. And so there's a story out today that Donald Trump, because of all this, is now the betting favorite to win the 2024 presidential election. So, this is according to Las Vegas Review Journal. They have Donald Trump at 20% betting odds, compared to Biden's 19% betting odds. And this is the first time Trump has been the betting favorite over Biden since everything that happened.
Since he was elected, right?
Since yeah, basically since he was elected, but since like the his Trump's kind of election chances were really really low after January 6th and the the quote unquote riot at the Capitol. And so they were really really low for a while there. But this is the first time it's actually been above Biden. Um, and obviously it's only by 1% right now because the story is that he's finally surpassed Biden. So it's not like a huge lead yet, but it is a lead. And it is interesting. And the reason it's interesting is because this is from Las Vegas. This is from people that are putting their money where their mouth is. They actually um, believe in what they're betting in enough to put thousands and thousands of dollars on the line for this. So they're essentially what I'm saying is there's not more people in Vegas willing to put thousands of dollars on the chance that Trump is the one elected in 2024, um, which is kind of insane, because he's a very unpopular, divisive figure for sure. But
Who,
there's
Trump?
also the fact that yeah, Trump, yeah, imagine that.
I wouldn't say that
Um,
he's unpopular. I would say that he's definitely divisive. That's entirely fair.
well, he's one of the least popular presidents we've had in some time, just because of his divisiveness. I don't think that's
I suppose it
really
depends on how
he's popular
you.
among his base, that's for sure. But
Yeah, I mean the net amount of fervence in his favor. I want double points for alliteration on that, by the way. Is I mean, it may not be the case that he was loved by as many people as other presidents in modern memory. Well, I shouldn't say
mhm,
loved because he was definitely more loved than anyone else. Fewer people were okay with him, but the people who
yeah,
liked him loved him. And I think that it's usually that's what drives votes. I mean, there's people who always vote. The people who don't always vote get brought out by something. So what is it? And it's usually love. Usually you can't get someone to vote because they hate the other guy. That usually doesn't work very well. I would argue it didn't even work this
yeah,
time, but he got robbed.
yeah. So the article says it was as low as 3% when the U.S. Capitol attack happened. Um, but now it's at 20. So he has an odds of 4-1, according to Vegas, of winning. Um, Vice President Kamala Harris is sitting at 13%. Um, we'll have to see how that develops. If Biden doesn't run, I don't know if Kamala Harris's odds are um,
They're
that
dog
great,
shit.
but yeah, she's not that popular. She couldn't even win her own state of California. She had to drop out before she knew she was going to lose it.
Poopy
It's kind of
pants
funny.
odds. I mean, she has no hope. And I
She's
look,
at 13% right now because I think it's because Biden is there kind of shielding that. But the second Biden's out of the picture, whether it's, because he announces he's not running in 2024, or maybe he just, you know, he's at such low odds that it doesn't even matter. The second people actually take a look at Kamala Harris, they're not going to like her, in my opinion. I
well,
don't think
they
what it
already
takes.
did. I mean, we don't have to speculate. I mean,
Mm,
look, I really don't like Joe Biden. Okay, and I'm more than happy to explain why. But I'll rip even harder on Kamala, not because I dislike her a lot more, but because in addition to my not liking her, the Democrat Party base doesn't like her. They kicked her out before they kicked out what? How many people ran this year? Like 9?
a
Was it
ton.
a
There was a
dozen?
lot of
It
people
might have
vying.
been more than 10. Point is, she's like in the bottom 10%.
Yeah.
That's bad, dude. Bottom 10% that's tough. I mean,
Yeah.
your mom, I can't even
So,
console you after a loss that bad.
yeah, so on the screen right now, I think these are old odds because it has Joe Biden above Donald Trump, but it is interesting nonetheless. It had Kamala Harris at the top, actually, which is kind
What
of
the
funny.
hell? Why is Mike Pence even on this list?
I don't, I
Mike
don't know why he
Pence's
has been
political
pulled.
career ended on January 6th.
Yeah,
And that's
Nikki
because,
Haley's up there.
first of all, because he only ever mattered because Donald Trump said he did. And also because he was being a little bitch about his role in the certification of electors, rejecting the historical precedent that allowed him to be a stopgap. And there's a legal argument that can be made for that, but he was way too essentially blew off the Stop the Steal movement. And it's like, you're not going to stop or you're not going to blow them off and then have a political career again on the right. I mean, maybe the Democrats will take you,
Certainly.
but we don't want you.
No, doubt it.
It's more likely than
Democrats
us
are
having
too.
him.
Well, apparently not according to these betting odds and polls and shit, because they still have him at he's still one of the favorites to win the Republican nomination, obviously behind the likes of DeSantis and Trump, but he's still up there.
That's
But Mitt Romney's up there as well. So like, what is that really saying? You know,
where is
in any case, you know, putting aside the January 6th stuff with
DeSantis?
Mike Pence, he's kind of just a bit of a wet blanket to me. Like
What
he's
the-
just kind of like.
Are you
See,
shitting
this is what
me?
I'm saying.
Ron
This
DeSantis is all the way down here. They got
well, okay.
they got Pete Buttigieg above Ron DeSantis. That's a fucking punchline. They got Kanye West above Ron DeSantis.
They have Dwayne the Rock Johnson at 25-1, and they have Cuomo at 50-1. This is an old poll. Some of them
I'm
are memes like
closing
Dwayne
this.
Johnson,
This
and
is
some of them like Cuomo. Cuomo has zero political career.
yo
after
Josh
Alabama.
Hawley. I could do
Josh
Tucker
Hawley.
Carlson would be good too, but I digress. Rasmussen, this is good. Rasmussen polls are some of the only actual polls.
Yeah,
There you go.
and that shit actually does matter. So, in any case, the main reason I wanted to talk about this is not just to just kind of shed light on the fact that Donald Trump is gaining popularity, but talk about what that kind of means. So, I think you and I both agree that the second Donald Trump says he's running, he wins the presidential nomination in the Republican Party. He wins the primaries hands down. There's no shot he loses, unless something drastic happens between now and then. He wins it.
I don't know.
You know, you don't think he does?
I realistically think that someone like DeSantis has a shot. I think he'd probably lose to
I think
Trump.
he wins it 8 times out of 10. Trump wins it 8 times out of 10. DeSantis wins it the other two, probably. I don't think anyone else takes it from either one because they're both pretty popular on the right.
I'll give you those
Um,
odds. I'll give you 8-2 odds.
8-2, yeah.
I don't know how
Yeah,
over under
Motion said
works.
like 10 out of 10.
What are the over unders?
Any,
Never understood that.
I don't understand it too much either. We don't have to dig into the weeds on that one. But in any case, Donald Trump, at the very least, we can agree, has a substantial shot at winning the Republican nomination if he decides to go for it. I almost think it's a shoo-in, basically. That being said, I don't know if he has the actual presidency locked. I don't think he does. I think that's a lot more shaky. First of all, he already lost to Biden, apparently. That's what they say. I know you don't agree with that. I'm still kind of mixed on it. But yeah, he already lost to Biden. And then there's also the fact that, and this is the main reason I want to bring this up because I haven't talked about this before, but it is one of my concerns. We mentioned earlier that Biden is making a lot of slip-ups. You know, Afghanistan, vaccine mandate, a lot of things that people don't like. My fear is that Americans are going to forget this. That Biden can put on a little smiley face, and the Democrats as well can put on a little smiley face for the midterms in 2022, and then the presidential election in 2024. A few months out from the elections, they can just be a lot less divisive, a lot less controversial, and then Americans just forget. You already see it with Donald Trump's numbers. Donald Trump is the favorite right now. He was at 3% on January 6th. Not a lot has changed between then other than Biden fucking up. Trump hasn't really done much. He's been kind of vocal criticizing Biden, but like his numbers are rising despite that hiccup because people just don't care about it anymore. No one cares about January 6th. The Democrats pretend they do, because they have to, because it's their politics is basically still anti-Trump, even though he's been out of office for like a year now. Almost a year.
It's so sad.
In any case, my main fear is that if if these polls are right and Donald Trump does win the Republican nomination, my fear is Joe Biden quote unquote moderates right before the election, and then they just swoop it and win it again
Well,
because Trump is just that unpopular.
they always moderate themselves before elections, and right after elections, they unzip their
Hmm.
pants and start fucking everybody right and exactly in the way that they said they weren't going to. And
That's kind of the
the
crazy thing.
oh, it's
Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
unbelievable. I mean, it happens
That's the
so
crazy.
predictably because
Yeah.
I mean, you know it's going to happen. Like the election happens, and it's. I mean, this is going on in California right now with this Newsom recall, right?
Hmm.
So the recall's over. Newsom's safe for now. He's on base, right? And so what does he do? He unzips his pants, whips it out, and oh Lord, now I'm going to have brain freeze. What just happened? I think it was with energy. I want to say.
Oh yeah, he did something with energy. Let me.
Yeah, save me. I think that he essentially once again. I mean, as though California needs any help having energy crises. I think he managed to once again ruin that state's ability to have a functional power grid. But it was especially egregious. Might have been a vaccine mandate. I'm not sure quite what it was. The point is that he's rolling it out.
Yeah, I mean,
Was it a
he
school
basically
board
took
thing?
that recall. I'm not sure. I couldn't find
Give me
anything
a
in
hot
like
second.
5 seconds I took. I'll fill in, in the meantime. But like yeah, he's obviously going to take winning the recall election as a reassurance that he's right. As a call to action, I guess, as a vindication of his viewpoint. He, he's he's survived the recall, and so he knows, at least he believes that the people are with him. They're with his policies. They don't mind the policies. He's already gone. He's already enacted, and so he's just going to enact more of this kind of stuff. Um,
Okay, I got it.
yeah. So what is it?
California will require children to get COVID-19 vaccination to return to school.
Yeah, I saw that.
That is egregious. I mean, it was egregious the whole time. Obviously, vaccine. I'm not going to talk anymore about vaccine mandates. Not even for a minute because we've done an hour on it now. But
Yeah.
go watch that if you want to hear it. This is. I mean, it's always hurts worse. It always digs deeper. It always twists the knife when it's about children.
Hmm.
So, interestingly enough, his daughter's not vaccinated, so that's fun. Just to really stick it to you that this is a rules for me and not for thee kind of thing. Or I'm sorry, rules
Well, and
for thee and not for me. I got it backwards. He
that's
also
his whole shtick.
signed a
He
bill.
ignored his own pandemic, procedures where he had everyone locked down except for him. He went all these fancy restaurants and stuff. Rules for thee, not for me, to the extreme.
He also signed a
Anyways,
law into effect that mandated larger retailers to offer gender neutral toy aisles. Larger retailers, including any department store that has 500 or more employees. They have to have that done by 2024 or be penalized $250 for initial violations and $500 for subsequent violations. That's the kind of thing they might compound daily just to really fuck you over. So yeah, I mean, so he won this goofy ass recall election, right?
mhm.
And what happens immediately? I mean, like same day shipping. What happens? Your kids have to get vaccinated to go to school, and also they have to have gender neutral toy aisles because we have to, we have to worry about trans kids because they exist.
If you if you're a Republican and you live in California, please just consider moving. It's not going to get better. You're not going to flip it. Just just come to Texas or
Honestly,
go to a swing state. Give them some votes.
we're accepting
It's
refugees.
nothing's changing in California anytime soon.
No, because in a
Back
lot.
to Biden though.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Got off track.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the thing that's insane to me about Biden, um, is that he ran two campaigns at once, right? So there was the stuff he was saying, um, his actual policies that he was talking about were radical. He during his campaign, he was asked multiple times what he wanted to do about the Supreme Court, whether he wanted to pack it or not, and he refused to answer. He refused to answer the simple question, would you pack the Supreme Court? And anyone who knows anything about the Supreme Court knows that if you pack the Supreme Court, you're basically nullifying its reason for existence. You're politicizing it, you're making it basically you're wielding your power as a congressional body to use the judicial branch, to write policy for you. That's how you get things like Roe v. Wade. Obviously, that wasn't because of court backing, but that's the kind of policies they would like to enact through the courts. And so, um, if you care about the Constitution, if you care about the rule of law, if you care about the system of checks and balances, separation of powers, you answer no to that question every day. You answer, no, I'm not going to pack the court. No, that's not even a consideration. Biden couldn't even say that. He said, we're thinking about it. We're gonna form a task group. I think his official answer was, we're gonna form a task force to ascertain whether we need to do this or not. He couldn't just say no, and so that's a radical move. That completely upsets the balance of power in the federal government. It completely shifts everything out of balance, and it's that would be a move that would destroy the republic in
Absolutely, it would destroy
some
the republic.
in some if you were running a simulation on your computer, of the US, and you ran that scenario, there'd be a pretty good percentage that destroys the republic. That eventually destroys the republic. It's probably not 100%.
It
There's
immediately
some
does.
scenarios where it wouldn't happen,
I,
but
I, I wouldn't be
you think
nearly that
100%?
charitable. It's damn close, barring
It's pretty damn
barring
close, but it's
divine intervention. I mean, God Himself. I'm not exaggerating at all. I mean, when you talk about the American Republic, let's say you're describing it to like a North Korean refugee who doesn't understand the first thing about the way that the American government actually works, or some Amazonian, whatever, so like no understanding.
mhm.
What do you say? You say, okay, well, we have three branches of government. That immediately, like the first thing out of your mouth is no longer the case if the executive branch has the liberty to just rape the judiciary, and I think that's the appropriate language to use, at will. If the president, or even in conjunction with the legislature, if those two branches cannot just overrule on one case, but can entirely and completely to the roots, from the roots to the leaves, corrupt the judicial branch at will to conform to their whatever it is they're going to try and accomplish that they know the judiciary isn't going to allow. You no longer have three branches of government, you have two. And God knows that the executive branch has usurped a tremendous amount of legislative authority, so you really just have one. So,
It's like
in,
one and a half.
in what sense are you actually, yeah, I suppose, yeah, I'll give it a half. In what
Mhm.
sense are you a republic?
Yeah.
Is that not just an executive dictatorship? It is, at least in most, not entirely perhaps, but in very large part, if the executive has the power to do essentially whatever it wants. We're already dangerously close to that with shit like this OSHA rule. We're going to make every
Hmm.
company with more than 100, I mean, just to name the most recent of tens of thousands of examples. You know, we're going to force employers to vaccinate their employees or test them weekly.
Yeah, but
That's
I mean, the point is, this is the kind of language he used throughout the campaign. He sometimes he wasn't explicit. Like here, he wasn't explicit that he was going to overrun it, but he also didn't say he wouldn't, which is a bad answer as far as I'm concerned. It's a positive answer as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, right.
Saying so.
He additionally
Yeah. So
said he suggested that he would let us know closer to the election or after the election. I think he
yeah,
actually
that's
said
right.
after the election.
This
And
was
someone
this was
asked
while
him,
early voting was going on.
right?
Yeah.
And someone asked him, "Don't you think that voters have a right to know?" Like, sir, don't voters have a right to know what your stance is on this issue? And he said no. He said
Yeah.
the word no. I'm not saying he gave a negative or non-answer. It was a very clear answer, and it was negative. No, you
Yeah.
don't. Vote for me. I mean, the
That was insane.
absurdity of that.
That was when I decided I was never ever voting for him ever in any election.
Yeah, no
That was
chance.
yeah. There was like a small percentage I would have before, but after that happened, I was like, no, no shot.
Yeah, nah.
Um, in
Writing
any
Mickey
case, that's
Mouse.
that's part of the campaign he was running. He was running part radical, but the other part of the campaign he ran, and this made the bulk of his campaign, and this is what he actually focused on when he talked. Um, he ran as a moderate,
Right.
and the insane part is he's ruling as an authoritarian radical, but he ran as a moderate. He ran. You heard return back to normal, normalcy, norms. You heard that from his mouth and from everyone who supported him, their mouths, um, all throughout his campaign. He was the return to normal candidate. But he pinned Trump as the crazy one, and he was the one that was normal, and he would, you know, bring back a sense of normalcy. He would bring our allies back to the table. He would push our enemies away. Um, that kind of language he used, he was openly lying to all of us, you know, as if that wasn't obvious enough. But he was openly lying about this stuff, um, about being a moderate candidate, and people still believe he's a moderate, which is the insane thing. But people still believe he's a moderate. Um, yeah, I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that it's kind of insane that he yes, he did say some of this radical stuff in his campaign, but he made sure to not make it so explicit that it that he was made into a radical candidate. He made sure to keep things moderate sounding, and so he campaigned on this, and now he's using that as like vindication for his policies. He's saying the American people voted this in. This is what they wanted. No, they wanted a moderate president that wasn't Donald Trump saying mean things on Twitter. They didn't want Biden mandating vaccines and leaving people in Afghanistan that are citizens of America. So yeah, that I guess to bring this whole thing, um, back on a circle, back to the closing. Um, I'm fearful that he's going to get away with this, that he's going to get away with being this radical person, making these stupid, brain dead decisions. And he's just going to drop all of that a couple months before the election, just sweep the election, and then go right back to doing all of this. And
I
I'm
kind of
worried that
doubt
that's
it.
even more. Hmm?
I doubt it.
You doubt it?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Because I'll tell you why. There is a degree of pain that people don't soon forget. So just amplifying the national debt, for instance, I mean, that's really stupid. Even if you do it a lot, it's really stupid. And I'll blame Trump for that
Hmm.
as much as anybody because he's responsible for it as much as anybody. So this isn't a partisan thing. But yeah, there is a degree of suffering that an administration can cause and has in the past caused, which the American people simply don't forgive. And the last time we had that really was Carter, who ruined the economy so badly that
Yeah.
it was just a blowout. I mean, he had no hope of winning that reelection. And
Hmm.
we are on track. I don't know where we're going. God does, I don't. But we are on track to have a much, much worse go of it than we did under Carter. Inflation is, I mean, the projections are alarming as hell. And the big point that I want to make is it's October. There are 60 freight ships filled to the brim with cargo floating off the coast of LA right now, and they can't get unloaded. Let me find this picture just for a graphic. It's dystopian almost. There you go. It's fucking horrifying. So, when you have this going on, what happens really rapidly, I mean, not only do prices go up fast on essentials, but more importantly, Christmas is coming. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. You want to piss off voters? You want to wake people up? I mean, the reason that a lot of people don't pay attention to politics is because, well, it sucks. I mean, you and I are probably like, our health in general is worse because we read this shit on a regular basis. I don't think it's...
I get too stressed over politics.
Honestly, man. Like your cardiac health suffers just consuming this. So, you know, I mean, most people realize that and they're like, not most people, many people realize that and they're like, I don't need that shit in my life. And it's like, I completely understand where you're coming from. But the consequence of that is they have no information when they go and vote. And so they vote for some brain dead dumb fuck like Biden. Anyway, I'm rambling. The point is, when parents can't get their kid a freaking Barbie doll for Christmas, not only because they can't find the girls aisle because Gavin Newsom has mandated there be fucking gender neutral aisles, but on top of that, because they can't get them because all of the Barbie dolls are floating off the coast of fucking California because Biden has, defying all imagination, managed to have not only a labor crisis but also an unemployment crisis at the same time and exaggerated the whole thing with a vaccine mandate that a lot of people just chose to not abide by and decided they'd rather be unemployed. Which, by
the way, is being paid for right now. You know, they extended unemployment benefits, right? You know, so did that extend to now? Like, are they still paying a pretty hefty unemployment benefits?
It depends on the state, but I believe in some states, yes.
Yeah.
The point is that they can't get these cargo ships offloaded. There's not enough dudes to to move the cargo off the ships at the ports, and there's not enough truck drivers to move it out of the ports. The truck drivers themselves are waiting hours and hours and hours just to get one of those damn things. So
that's insane.
We're in fucking trouble.
Yeah.
You know, Susan can't get little Johnny a G.I. Joe for Christmas because it's made in China and they're all floating off the coast of L.A., you know, and the expected delivery date is in fucking February and she's shopping on Black Friday. Yeah. You think they're going to forget that soon? No. That's going to happen, man. I don't know if it's going to happen this Christmas, or I know it is to some extent. I don't know how bad it's going to be, but when gas prices start going up, first of all, the price of everything goes up. People notice that. They definitely notice when their kids crying on Christmas. I mean, you can fuck over the American people only so deep. You know what I mean? And once you fuck them over a little bit too bad, a little bit too far, even the ones who aren't really paying attention start to feel it in the life they're trying to live. And then you won't be forgiven. Ever. Not on your life.
The key is not pissing off the centrists.
Right.
The independents. Yeah, because those are the people that really matter. The swing state voters. Anyways, I feel like we covered that enough. I think we keep it a good effort.
Yeah,
Um,
nailed it.
Last thing I want to mention, which is kind of crazy to me, is on this presidential election odds. Um, one, two, three, four, five, six. AOC is number six. That's insane to me. I don't think she has any shot of winning any election, but she's number six on this list, 16 to 1 odds.
Oh,
And then
that's the one that I
Ivanka Trump.
closed.
Yeah.
She. No.
She's just way, first of all, she's just way too young. People are not going to put someone that young in.
Is she
You
even
want someone that's
eligible?
like, she will be, I think. She's like 32 now or something like
That's,
that. And
yeah,
so
okay.
3 years, 35,
That's
you know.
never going to happen.
Yeah, no.
The
That's for
gray
sure.
vote would never go for that shit.
She's already got too much baggage. And she hasn't even been in the, the public eye for more than, a few years now. And
You
she's already
can't.
got so many controversial things she said and so many weird positions she's taken. We can get into that later because I don't want to get too off topic here because um but I'm sure you saw the vote she did recently with the Iron Dome in Israel. Did you see all that?
No. What?
You didn't see this? So basically,
No.
Congress was voting whether to fund the Iron Dome as part of like a big bill, and it got voted down after some lobbying by like AOC and the like.
Sure.
And then they separated it from the bill, and they just did the Iron Defense on its own, the Iron Dome on its own.
Yeah.
Um, and then all the Democrats were on board, except for like AOC and the crew. But so AOC and the crew were all going to vote no on this bill that was always going to be passed. So it's just the symbolic vote, but they were all going to vote no. Um, and at the last second, AOC switches her vote to whatever the present is. Like she abstains or whatever it is.
Abstain,
She
yeah.
I think it's abstain. She switched her vote to basically saying I'm here, but I'm not going to vote. You know, um, from no. And everyone's like, why would she do that? But if you look, like if you think about it for like more than a few seconds, she lives in New York. New York has a pretty high Jewish population.
Yeah.
You can't piss off your constituents that way, and so she does not want that on her voting record. So a lot of people were speculating that the reason she just abstained from the vote is that she just didn't want to piss off the Jewish people living in New York.
I mean, that's
So,
wise. It
hmm
seems to work out for Bill de Blasio fairly well. But,
hmm
yeah, I
it's
wouldn't
funny
take
though.
that page out of his book. I wouldn't take any page, but least of all that one.
If Bill de Blasio is your role model, I think you need some new role models.
Well, she certainly does.
Anyways,
I think
that
that we.
that is a good. Hmm,
I was going to say, I think we
go ahead.
covered it pretty well. It's a pretty good cutting off point, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would say it's a good wrap on the 2024 election. Some things to look out for. I'll be curious to see if Donald Trump continues to rise. I imagine he will as Biden keeps
Yeah, I'm
fucking
sure.
up things because Biden's going to keep fucking up things.
For the
I'd be
best
curious to see
ad he
what
could do
happens
at this
to.
point is to come flying back and say, "Miss me yet?" Be killer. That would actually that he might win if he does that.
I'm nervous about that, man. I'm also curious what'll happen to Kamala Harris's numbers, and a little bit Mike Pence as well. I'm curious why he's still so popular. Um, yeah.
No hope. I have a better chance of winning than Mike Pence.
Well, there you have it. That's the 2024 election. Betting odds, Biden approval rating, all that fun stuff.
Yee. All right, let's
Okay,
cut it off
don't
there.
do that. All right, this has been the Babble Royale show. Thanks for babbling.
Okay.
Is that a good catchphrase? Do you like that?